Hey everybody, this is Minion Soldier, and this is the Better Late Than Ever Piracy Show. And yeah, we're dealing with questions, comments, and concerns from last week's ship updates. So without further ado, let's get started. Tom N, this game is such an exercise in patience. Yeah, it definitely is. You know, it just... At times, I feel it kind of grates really hard, and it's been really difficult for me to kind of log in and play the game because as you get closer and closer to a major content release, I think in any game and whatnot, when you're playing the old content releases, it's just like it just kind of makes it a little bit worse because you know there's so many good things coming, and all of a sudden it's like, you know, you're waiting for the new shiny stuff and everything. When you're waiting for the new shiny stuff, all the stuff that you got right then and there feels a little extra dull and a little extra boring. And so, you know, every once in a while I think you got to kind of like step away and not play the game for a little while and just kind of, I don't know, find something else to occupy your brain while you wait for 3.0. But hopefully within the next month or two, we'll have it. Alright, next up, our Graceful. So happy for any new bikers, but I've been waiting years for my $250 Redeemer. Yeah, there's a lot of people who have been waiting for the Redeemer, and there's also people who are like, that's not my ship. Yeah, it's kind of shitty that the Redeemer is still like nowhere to be seen apart from that, you know, basic model that's been sitting in hangars for so long that that really barely works. And I mean, when you see what they've done bringing other ships up to snuff, what they could do with the Redeemer now versus what the Redeemer kind of looks like in hangar now, I'm really excited to see what they do with it, but I'd be more excited to see them actually do something with it, you know. I have a lot of hope for that ship. That's a pretty heavily armed ship, and there's been more than one occasion where I've kind of looked at my fighters and just said, you know what, I should just amalgamate those into a Redeemer, because I'm not really that much of a fan of fighters anymore. But I mean, honestly, that could also be like, I was thinking about it in the background, and that could also be just because fighters have been all we've really had for so long. You know, it's like for the longest time, it's all we really had to fly. And only lately have we started to get a couple of the big ships. So that could be a factor in that too, that it's just total fighter burnout. But I don't know. I'd just like to hear something about the Redeemer, not just like, oh yeah, we're gonna do it, but I'd like to hear, we're doing it, here's some artwork, and here's some of the updates we're making. That's what I would like to see more than anything, rather than just, oh yeah, we remember that ship. But yeah, definitely I would like to see them do something with the Redeemer in the near future. Alright, next, Christopher. So where was the Mother's Day sale? Well, I don't really think there's too many moms who would be like, you know, comparatively speaking. I'm sure there might be some moms out there who are like, oh yeah, I love Star Citizen. But for the most part, I don't really think, you know, that would be catering to the expected demographic of the game. Alright, next one, Citizen Gamer. Blocking content based on purchases is obnoxious. Now this one kind of goes and turns into, you know, a bit of a debate underneath in the sub-comments, but, you know that, like, obnoxious was not what they were going for. I think it was, honestly, a misplay, a big misplay. You know, back when we used to have sort of like, you know, the help the Herald things, when they would put up those little you know, Twitter pics, and they'd say, you know, help us decode. If we get 500 retweets, you know, we'll decode the image further. If we get 1,000, we'll decode it further. And we could see an image of the ship before it was released, and that was really good marketing. That made sense because then people would be out there retweeting it because they want to see this shit, and then people who may be following them or just kind of watching them or seeing it on Twitter, they'd be like, oh, what's this Help the Herald thing? They click on it, what's this Star Citizen? And then they see it, and there's a game, and maybe they're one of the people like us who are like, oh man, I've been waiting years for a game like this. That's like good marketing. That Help the Herald thing was a wicked idea, and it really worked out. But I don't know. This kind of seems, this really felt like kind of a misplay. Like someone was trying something, and it just did not land the way they thought it would land. But I think easily the outcome of that was visible before they tried it. It's like kind of one of those things where someone will say, hey, I'm going to try this, and you go, I don't think that's a good idea. It's like, no man, it's going to work. And then you just kind of sit back and go, yeah, I'm just going to wait and see how this turns out, because this is probably going to be pretty funny. And it was funny, not ha funny, more like sad funny, but yeah. All right, next up, Sam Lucky. Is there any way that we could get you to start pronouncing Xeon as Xi'an? This is the correct way of pronouncing it, subjective. Considering that within the lore, Xeon ships are all alien Chinese ships. And frequent Chinese-speaking people know that when Chinese characters are translated into its Latin phonetic, the letter X is pronounced as sh, as a sh sound. So the word for thank you in Chinese is zhi or zz, and everyone knows that it's pronounced shi. So Xeon ships are pronounced Xi'an. Often this is like a big thing. The Connie Aquila or Aquila, depending on who you are, it also raises these kind of debate points. But I would counter with, in my job, I frequently have to converse with people from all over the world. And some of their English is not the best, right? They pronounce certain words a different way, or they use expressions incorrectly or something like that. But the point is like, I know what they're saying. And if I were to walk around and start beating people over the head over pronunciation of a word, I probably wouldn't be as likable a guy as I am. Well, that's subjective too. If I were to do that and chase everybody around, and then even if I were to talk to people and say, this is not how you pronounce it, this is how you pronounce it, I'd be pronouncing it in the Canadian way. Someone from the UK might pronounce it differently. Someone from the States might pronounce it differently. Like someone from a very foreign country might refer to here's an example, referring to a state as Arkansas. And, whereas we would know, no, it's Arkansas. But someone from a foreign country who says Arkansas, and everyone's like, what's Arkansas? Oh, Arkansas. Okay. And, but if you just sit there and you just kind of like constantly beat people over the head over pronunciation, it doesn't go over well. So it's better, if you know what the person's saying, then it's cool. And it's just a local dialect or a local flavor, and that's the way it is, like, people speak English in Jamaica, but I wouldn't go to Jamaica and then start lecturing people. No, that's not how you say that. Generally it's not good politics to do things like that. All right, next up, trauma. People still buying into the scam after all these years. That's one that comes up frequently, and though there are a lot of points, well, not a lot, but there are some points where I disagree with CIG on some of the things that they do. Overall, like the whole idea of Star Citizen being a scam, I think is, I mean, I wouldn't say that it would be like 100% impossible, but the likelihood of it being a scam would be so small, so tiny, as to be barely worth measurement. And the reason why, and I'll share you like my logical reason for why Star Citizen is not a scam. If you look at the Star Citizen forums, and just in general, well, Spectrum now, in general, if you read through that and you read the comments that people make, you start to realize that in and amongst our community, there are like law enforcement professionals, current military people, former military people, you know, a wide range of people with, say, a certain set of skills. And so in general, like, and these people are, you know, once again, backers that are spread out all around the world from many different countries. One of my general rules in life, one of my mantras, if you will, is that you don't rip off people who either currently or at one point in their life jumped out of a Humvee, a helicopter, an APC, or whatever, into actual live real world enemy fire with an attitude like, get some. Those are not the people that you would intentionally fuck over, and to such a degree, you know. I don't think that that would be a healthy life choice, if you will. So when people say that Star Citizen is a scam, my inclination is, if it was, you'd have to be the stupidest scammer ever, or it would all be part of an elaborate suicide pact. All right, next up, Flax and Saxon. It looks like a storage box for the motorcycle. Yeah, that could be true. I never thought of that. That could possibly be like a weird crate that it fits into. I'm really curious to see what it looks like. The Xeon or the Xion Nox. I'd really like to see what is it going to be, like a fold-out vertical bike, like more like, say, you know, one of those kind of like, what is it, the speeders or whatever that the droids were using in Clone Wars, something like that. I don't know. I'm really curious to see what this is going to look like, because I do dig the Xeon style. So I'm hoping it's going to be something really, really cool. All right, next up, Alan Crow. I would like to see the Terrapin be more modular, like swap out the middle seat for a cargo room, or it could be a good troop carrier. It does look like a troop carrier, doesn't it? I mean, the Cutlass looks a little bit more like one with the sliding doors on the side now, but it does kind of look like it would be a little, you know, at least something you could drop. What would it be? A squad? How many? A squad is 6 and a platoon is 2 squads, or something like that, or a squad is 6 and up. And I don't know. I don't have enough time to pull up the sheet, but you know what I mean. Like, you get like a few detachments of troops in different ones. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. The Reclaimer might end up flight ready in 3.0. I don't know, because the Reclaimer is still aimed for a September completion date, and I think we're going to get 3.0 before September. At least I hope so. Would be cool even if salvage isn't available. Yeah, I agree. I mean, we've already got a cargo ship with no cargo, and we've got a fuel carrier with no fuel. Well, no fuel that it can manage itself. So I don't see why at that point, if the Reclaimer was done, if they wouldn't just patch it into the game, or not so much just patch it in, but put it in with the next release, you know, if it was done. But then again, you know, the Dragonfly is one of the coolest, you know, things ever, and we've been seeing it since last August flyable, to a certain degree. I mean, I'm sure they kind of cheesed it a little to get it to work in the game, and it definitely wasn't the final version of it. But you know, we've been seeing that for over a year, or not over a year yet. We've been seeing just under a year, but you know, we still don't have that either. So there's kind of a precedent either way. But I would definitely like to see it soon. And another comment, is 6/21/47 the release date of Star Citizen? If you're referring to the year 2047, possibly. All right, Nate the Great. I do not understand why we currently have all these flyable ships that can carry cargo, and yet to have actual cargo in game and not to have actual cargo in game until 3.0. Yeah. However, they just put the Reclaimer on the back burner because they are not up to par on the salvage system. That's my theory. That's not actual fact yet that has been confirmed, but I'm feeling that maybe salvage isn't ready to go, and they bumped the Reclaimer, or maybe something else needed love before the salvage system got it, and so they were like, okay, we'll hold off on the Reclaimer until it's ready. Maybe that was their thinking. I'm pretty sure that they made a mistake. The progress they have been making on the Reclaimer looks very promising. I can't wait to nom on some scrap. I agree. As to getting it in before there is actual salvage in game, I don't know. It's just like there's a part of me that's like, oh yeah, I want it. Like if it was done today, I'd be like, patch it in game now. But there's another part of me that knows that I've been flying around in this freaking caterpillar for months now, and like I can't carry anything with it. I have gun racks that I can't do anything with, you know. And that's kind of like the double-edged sword of getting these ships out so early, is you get in and you're like, oh cool, you know, there's, you know, look at all the details and all the stuff, and it's like, what can you do with it? Right now, not very fucking much, you know. And so that's always kind of like, you know, there's that initial rush when you finally get on your ship, like the Reclaimer or the Caterpillar, but then there's the letdown because you're like, but I can't do anything with it, you know. So I don't know. But, you know, in the end, I think if I was given the choice right now, I'd be like, oh, hell yeah, put it in the game right now. Patch it in today. But then, invariably, I would suffer a little disappointment shortly thereafter. All right, Nuke Zap. Who got the Ultra Access? People who got completionist accounts? No, as far as I understand it, it was the people who bought the Stealth Bomber. Whoever bought that got the ultra top secret access that allowed you to see the ultra underwhelming partial screenshot of the Xeon or the Xion Nox. All right, let's see. The Freak. While I have been looking forward to another space bike, I'm a little miffed that CIG continues to delay the 600 concept. I can guess that they want to release the 600 around a big event, Gamescom, etc. Gamescom. Part of me was hoping for the 600 series will carry a Nox. Terra and the Xion have a good relationship. Makes sense in a way. Yeah, you know what? If it was more like a personal transport, like say like a 300 times 2 or something, you know, more up to the Redeemer size, something like that also carried a bike would be pretty cool, you know, something else in that size range, because you have the Cutlass that can do it, and you have the Freelancer, but you know, the Freelancer feels more like a commercial vessel, whereas Cutlass not so much. But maybe like a larger single pilot ship that could carry a space bike around would be something really cool to have in the verse, especially when we go around and start exploring. But even then, I mean, realistically, it's not on the production schedule yet. So even if they did release the concept tomorrow, I mean, we'd still be waiting over a year for the ship itself. All right, next up, Panzer 110. Excellent job, my friend. I love your updates. Thanks a lot, buddy. Next up is Mike MF Panic. Minion with you straight up. So looking forward to the turtle tank. You have my blessing to log in and as me and fly it for an evaluation. Tell you what, maybe we'll meet up in the verse sometime, and we'll trade ships, and you can fly around in my pirate caterpillar, and I'll take your turtle out for a spin. You're part of the reason why I'm still sold after 4 years. As if it needs to be repeated. You do awesome work. Go Flyers, go Sixers. Hey, Philly man. All right. Yeah. You know, one of the things that, you know, when I talk about the game, and, you know, some people obviously get, you know, really mad with me when I talk about certain things. And I talk about things that I think are going to be problems in the future. You know, a lot of people get mad about that stuff, but the truth is that you have to remember that this all comes with perspective. You know, oddly enough, I was having a discussion just the other day with somebody that I raid with about World of Warcraft, and you know, being someone who played a little in vanilla and then really never really picked the game up that much until Burning Crusade, but still had that vanilla experience. I saw a game that had a lot of potential, but something that wasn't really polished yet, and something that I would come back to later. And that's kind of when I look at Star Citizen, I see it through those glasses. I see that I look at the game and I see all the potential, but I also see the potential pitfalls. You know, I'm very honest in that. And that's kind of what I try to put through in my videos. Is like, because if I just made videos where it's just like, you know, where I was just kind of like, you know, shaking the pom-poms and going, go Star Citizen and all this stuff like that. If I ignored all the problems and all the pitfalls, then I really wouldn't be doing anybody any favors. I mean, I would just be making things worse down the line, because like, what happens if we do catch something? If we do see something and say, hey, that's a problem. You know, we need to fix this. Whereas, say, like, a year down the road, that problem could be even worse because it's been allowed to persist and to grow within the system. And that's often, you know, it's that sort of, no, don't say anything negative, just shut up about it. That attitude, I think that attitude is more detrimental to the game than it's helpful, you know? When people say, just shut up about what you see. That really, like, that doesn't allow for any discourse. That doesn't allow for any back and forth. And so I think when you see people react that way, it's very, you know, it's negative towards the game more than it's positive. And so that's kind of what I try to do with my videos, man. I know I'm definitely not the biggest guy out there, and I'm sure there's valid reasons for that, but I'm comfortable. I'm happy where I'm at. But anyways, you know what? Thanks for watching. Alright, Edison Trent. It's not the Origin 600 like promised, so I'm done. First need to deliver the 3.0 or the Origin 600 before I spend any more money. Now, one sec. Let me just go up in the comments, because there was someone who made a really good point. Yeah, so, you know, Freak, and I... his username, I'm not calling him names, but Freak pointed out that it could likely be at Gamescom, and that would probably, like, I didn't think of that, but that would probably be a very logical place to drop the Origin 600, unless there's something else going on, like some kind of really big marquee ship. But I think a 600 sale with a 3.0 release all around Gamescom would be huge, and it would be kind of like, you know, it would just be like those things would just feed into each other and help build, you know, a lot of positive media buzz, which is something that, you know, any game in development needs a healthy amount of. All right, next up, Stephen Abernethy. Banu Merchantman is off the list too. Shit, is it? I'm picturing it in my head right now, and I think you're right. Wait, I have my list right here. Yeah, actually keep a handwritten list. 3.1 is Razor Aurora updated, Terrapin, Hull C, Cutlass, Red, Cutlass Blue, Vanguard Harbinger 3.2 is Phoenix Taurus, Freelancer Max, the Sentinel, and the Freelancer Dur. Yeah, it's not on here. Huh. Shit, you know what? I'm gonna have to build like a proper like Excel matrix or something like that to track this shit better. But you're right. That's was the Merchantman in 3.2 though? I would have to go further back, but I thought it was 3.3 that the Merchantman was going to be on. But I'll have to go back and I'll check the schedule and see. But I think pulling the Banu Merchantman off the schedule would be like a very iffy move, because that ship, I mean, as much as the Reclaimer has fans, the Banu Merch has fans, dude, and they have been waiting a hell of a long time for any kind of progress. All right, next up, David Bland. What's with the pic with the words "Back Star Citizen buys Hurricane"? That's the old internet meme. Bad luck, Brian. That was just a little bit of a joke, just because of the Hurricane being that sale not being the greatest sale, and it ended up being, ironically, the reason why turrets got fixed is because of the reception and the commentary around that ship in the forums, because of the fact that it relied so heavily on a turret, which a lot of us know turrets not really working out so well right now in Star Citizen. Next to nigh useless, in fact. So a ship that relied so heavily on a turret was it wasn't received all that well. So it was just a play on the old Bad Luck Brian meme. I'm sorry. Sir Swash, maybe the Reclaimer is pushed up to 3.1. Well, I do have my list here, and maybe it's an omission. Maybe it did get pushed up. Maybe it is going to be in 3.1. I mean, if 3.0 releases in August, maybe it would be in 3.1, and they just forgot to move it. I know that that's kind of a stretch, because CIG is famous for the meticulous upkeep of all the ship stats on the website. And so I feel that, possibly someone could have omitted moving it up, but I feel like it was just quietly kind of moved off, Next up, Tom N. Hey, any news about the Prospector and mining? I believe the Prospector is still slated for 3.0. So the Prospector, and at least I guess some rudimentary form of mining, should still be in, because as far as I know, that is still when that is supposed to drop, or at least some form of it. You know what? One sec. Let me go back and check my notes. Okay, so the current status of the MISC Prospector is feature complete and some code bugs remain. So it looks like the Prospector is going to make 3.0. What state mining is going to be in, I'm not too sure. I have a bit of an aversion to mining, and not to say that, not to make like a judgment on anybody who likes it, but during the old EVE Online days, I spent way too much time mining POS and Dreadnought fuel, strontium clathrates or calthrates or whatever. And so I've done all the mining I plan to do for the rest of my life, I feel. But yeah, according to the schedule, right on track for 3.0 still. And finally, Sam Anderson, should have kept my Terrapin. Well, you know what? There's once the Terrapin releases, there'll obviously be the sale to get it back, so there'll be another sale. You might have to spend a little bit more, but you can still scoop it up. But you know what? If you have another ship, and this is one of the things I always try to say is, if you have a really good solid industrial ship, like a good cargo hauler, a good miner, a good, like a refueling ship, or a fuel prospecting ship or something like that, Starfare, basically the only game in town really at this point. If you have a good salvage ship, a good repair ship, anything like that, you can use those ships to make money, which you can use to get your terrapin back in game, you know? So always something to think about. Like for me, I always try to think of what's a good foundation to build from, what's a good core industrial ship to have, so that I can go out and pay for the lifestyle that I would like to enjoy. Anyways, that's the show for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Sorry it was a little late, and thanks for watching.
Quantum travel initiated.